You can catch me every day, trying to get my mind right. Lighting up that, just trying to get my mind right. Time is just ticking, so I'm making sure my time right. Just wanna be rich, don't give a damn about no limelight. Cause that's what I'm on, cause that's what I'm on. Yeah, that's what I'm on, cause that's what I'm on.
Peace, love, and light, guys. I am your host, Deniro Ali, and this is the Deniro Experience. So in tonight's topic, I wanted to discuss choices. We all have the option of choice. We have so much freedoms in this country, so many opportunities to progress, so many opportunities to learn, so many overall opportunities that obviously wasn't coexisting prior to now. But what did our choices get us? We have more freedoms, more opportunities, but yet the results are all the same. You have people who choose to commit crimes due to whatever setback that they have in their life, due to either lack of resources, lack of parents, just overall lack of opportunity, so they feel, so they go ahead and commit crimes. They get caught, and then they say, well, I didn't have a choice. More so that I was made to do it. Something made me do it, or whatever it is. So when do we know that we actually have the opportunity to make a choice? And what are our choices actually getting us at this point? You have so many people nowadays who have the opportunity to make the right choices, learning from those that are around them to make the right choices if they themselves haven't been in a situation to where they can learn from said choice. But so many of us watch other people. We have basically a blueprint on how to make the right choices, and we continue to make the wrong choices. So let's get into it. What did our choices get us? Men, we have more freedom. We have more opportunity to excel and advance ourselves, but we only choose to be docile. We only choose to be criminals. We only choose to be scammers. We only choose to be people that a long time ago, our ancestors would say, you conniving. So now we at a point to where so much has transpired within this new generation to where it's almost seeming like a choice is just something that people do rather than think about. For the life of me, I couldn't understand if you watched everybody in your family struggle by making the same choices. Why would you then make the same said choices, considering that you're so different and not me, and I'm gonna break the chain and all of these other things that we say to not deal with the reality? So many of the people that I grew up watching or whatever have you, so many of them made choices that I learned not to make. And by watching them, I learned not to make these same mistakes. See, life is a series of repetition. Either you living, you learning, and you growing, or you staying stagnated. And I say this all the time on this program, that choices are a reflection of who you are as a person or individual. Choices determine character. The choices you overall make in life, that's what people judge you by. And whether we want to live in a society where we want to act like our choices does not bring judgment, they do. So at this particular point, if you want better outcomes, it would more behooving to make better decisions instead of blaming other people. We have to take accountability in our community. And so many of us as melanated people like to put our stuff on other people. You see how hard it is overall just having kids in general. So maybe you move past it and then you say, okay, I'm not going to have any more kids. But for the life of me to end up with 4 or 6 kids and no direction and no plan to have a father, not have a husband, not have any of these things that would make your life better as a person who has 6 kids. These are the options of choices. Many of us as young black men, we grew up with a lot of cats, A lot of people had the opportunity to go to school. A lot of people had the opportunity to, go to the military, follow trades, whatever have you. But now you look at a lot of these same people, they only want to be scammers, criminals, rappers, and all these other things that didn't fit in the life cycle of the path that they were groomed to follow. Also choices. There's somebody who stayed after practice, extra hours, to focus on their game to get better and better. And ultimately the goal was so that they can get to a point in life where things can be easier, they can be following their goals. But so many of us, through the blame of society or the blame of our parents or the blame of other people, we sit here and put these things off on other people without taking accountability for the choices we decide to make. The only thing that's really going to determine success is your overall attitude of the things that you have to achieve. Pressure is only built for strong shoulders. If you're weak-minded, you're going to reflect that. So this life is all about making the right amount of choices, understanding that we are all given choices. We all have the ability to make corrected choices or incorrect choices. And over here on the Deniro Experience, we focus on solution-based outcomes. I'm not a person that sits here and says, oh, well, I didn't do this because I didn't have that, or I didn't do this because my mom did, or I didn't do this because my dad, I didn't do it. At the end of the day, when I became a free-thinking adult in the society and the intelligence that God gave me, it was my ability. It was my own right to own up to my mistakes and own up to the things that I am not proudest of. These are the things that led to me making better choices down the line. So a lot of people look at me personally and they say, oh, you don't have that. Well, here's the thing. I don't have these things because I made corrected choices in my lifespan. I decided to say, I see all of these people going through all of this nonsense and all of this foolishness. Let me do something for myself and make the steps required in order for me to go the distance. Instead of sitting here ending up like everybody else, I could sit here and say, oh, I can see that, but it was your choices that got you here. It was my choices that got me here. And ultimately, while we place the blame on everything and try not to focus on really what the issue is, we don't overcome when we don't own up to our choices. Like the young woman that went viral on Instagram talking about the baby father came to bring his son some McDonald's, and she's talking about the other 3 kids that she has. Ma'am, those were your choices to have other kids. And clearly, if this man was somebody that was meaningful to you, you would have worked whatever had your situation out with this man instead of doing what you're doing now. Now you're acting like he is supposed to be responsible for the choices you decide to make. You lay down and made those other children, ma'am. So it is your responsibility, not the government, not your mom, not your dad, but it is your responsibility to overcome and to make these corrected choices in your life. Because sex is a choice. No one is being forced to have sex unless you're being held against your will, and that's a whole nother situation that we're not going to talk about tonight. I saw that video when I saw the arrogance in this woman. I heard the arrogance in her voice. I'm like, you can't believe the things you're saying is correct, and you can't believe that this attitude is correct. And this attitude, by the way, is why you have a group of women in our community who feel like they should have more than what they deserve. So we out here telling women, you can make all the mistakes in the world that you make. Shame on you, guys. Shame on you. Deadbeat, loser, bum. But hey, ladies, you can make all the mistakes in the world and no one is going to hold you accountable. Because all you have to do is say you was young. Or say you didn't know. All these things. But see, we live in a world where we know. The information is out there. You can Google anything. The same way you take the time to learn the things that you want to learn, you can Google the things that you would like to learn, and the proof is in the pudding. Statistics don't lie. The numbers are what they are. You don't know how to make good choices or decisions, and so therefore you put your BS on other people. You got to stop doing that. Because see, people in a free world, people who take accountability are never going to allow you to make the excuse that you didn't know, you were too young, or whatever have you. We all are young, but it's time to grow. And growth brings improvement. It's all about growth and development. As you age, you're not supposed to get taller, you're supposed to get wiser, more knowledgeable, and having more understanding towards the situations that you face in your day-to-day life. Why would you put your options of choice on other people? Your mother didn't tell you to do with the things that you did. Your father didn't tell you to do the things you did. Your counselor didn't tell you to do the things you did. You know who told you to do the things that you did? You. So now you have to own up to the accountability of your choices. Solution-based outcomes. If you're not where you want to be, you have to focus on what is your plan. It's so many of our people don't have a plan right now. And it's like they're living life thinking that a mysterious figure is going to come save them and figure it out for them. I'm here to tell you, if you're waiting for anybody, you should be looking at the man or woman in the mirror, because that's the only person that's going to save you. So while we wait on Jesus, Buddha, this person, that allows us to not look within. That allows many of us to not do the work. That allows many of us to see that there is no problem. And so therefore we continue making the same mistakes time and time again. And then without realizing it, it's everybody else's fault except ours. The first thing that I had to do in order to be successful, I had to realize that all of my problems are my problems. No one else are going to govern or fix my problems. If I made the choices that brought these problems, it is my job to correct these problems by making better choices. If there's nothing that you can do at this particular time, the only thing that you have is today and tomorrow. You can't change the past, but you can change what you do today and the overall outcomes of where you go tomorrow. Choices is about making the best of your choices. Considering what your options is, understanding that maybe I have a choice to not struggle, so I'm going to go to work. I'm going to spend extra hours working on my podcast. I'm going to spend extra hours researching. These are choices that lead up to better outcomes. Poor choices is staying up all night, knowing that you have to get up in the morning. You don't go to work, you're late, you end up getting fired, and now you're sitting here crying, begging for your job that you obviously proven to society that you do not want. You know how many people I see that say that they want something, but given the opportunity, if they had to get up extra hours in the morning, if they had to travel extra hours or whatever have you, they would make the excuse to say that it was everybody else except them. It's not nobody's job to wake you up. And if you need someone to wake you up, then you need to go to the military. You need to go to the penal system, because in there you have to wake up early. You're held accountable if you don't do your chores. So these things build structure. And I don't understand how, for the life of me, we live in a society where most people have been incarcerated, but they get out in that system of thinking and they still don't make better choices. Many of the people who have been institutionalized or have been in the military should have many of the more stronger disciplines than anybody else, because they know what it is to be tough. They know what it is to have people be tough towards them, and these things instill character. I big up the military in a sense because the military makes strong men and strong women. The military defines what discipline is. It's going to make you responsible. Growing up with an Army drill sergeant father, that made me responsible. My dad was hella tough on me. Probably was the toughest on me than any of his other 6 kids. And for that, I grew up not making the required mistakes that others have made before me. I grew up not making excuses. I grew up owning up to my bull crap. I grew up owning up to my mistakes. And then in time, I became this refined young man that you see today. When people see me, they see success because of the choices that I chose to make. I would never bring a child into this world that I had no plan to take care of. If you have 9 months in a year, you know the strategy comes, I have 9 months to get my ish together. But lo and behold, so many of our young men and women like to bull crap and waste time and put our stuff on other people. So when we're winning in life, it's never nobody's fault. We did that on our own. But when we're losing in life, it's everybody's fault. You don't pay your rent. Somebody decides to say, hey, you can't live here no more. Oh man, that ain't my fault. He wild, man. He kicked me out because, it was over some other stuff. No. The person kicked you out because you're not responsible. You're not an adult. You're not mature yet. So you need to go be somewhere where you can learn these skills. Because nobody is going to sit around and wait for you to figure it out. We're living in real time. Those of us who have it figured out, we use our mind and influence to make things and open doors and create new opportunities. Those who have yet to figure out, they don't even want to watch the people who have figured it out. And one of my major components of my success is I watch other people. I take what's useful to me, I incorporate that to my winning strategy, and I win. I'm a winner because I make the right choices, not because I'm better than anyone. My choices was a little bit more under the lines that I have to get up every day and go to work, or I don't eat. I don't have a roof over my head. If I don't invest in myself, then I'm only going to be stagnated on the level of a worker and not of a boss. If I want to get to this level, I have to be willing to get here. So many of us want to get here without even first starting here. So the reality about everything is, if you define yourself by the choices that you make, then that determines your success or your inability to not be successful. Most of us are in our own way. You have to get out your own way. I'm a major in the work, studying, being studious, learning as much as you can from the outside world, incorporating that to become the better version of yourself. This is why I create this program, because I see so many of us still trying to figure it out. So much of the game has been spewed on social media that all you would have to do if you was really serious in your endeavors is Google. But so many of us like to pick up a phone and we're looking at all of the things in our day-to-day life that distract us, that are not going to make us be our best version of ourselves. And so we are in the matrix of sitting still while other people are doing. And then we want to sit here and point our finger and say, oh, you think you're better than me. Oh, you just had that. No, we all have the same 24 freaking hours in a day. The difference with mine is I spend my time utilizing this little life of mine to make something out of it. Utilizing my gifts and talents so that I can help other people see their potential, because it's not always about me. I make these series of dialogues to show us that we've been getting slapped on the wrist for so long. It's time out for all of that. The reality now is we're holding men and women accountable who are about something, and we're focusing on the people who want to change their lives. Because this thing is about changing your life. Starting your own business, starting your own brand. These are choices, creating stocks. These are choices that are going to put you in those rooms to reach the successes in life later down the line. So if you're looking at it like, oh, I'm young, I have time. You don't have time. All the young people are dying. Everybody who you see dying is younger than 35. Okay? So you don't have time. Guys like myself don't have time, which is why I'm utilizing my time in order to get the best outcome possible. Because the life is not just going to fall into my lap. It's going to come through a series of hard work and steps and trials and errors. I'm willing to fail so I can win. You tell me this first place, second place, third place. Okay, I might be third. I might be second, but the prize is to ultimately be number one. If I can't be that now, ultimately I can be that at a later point. But it's all about sowing the seeds. You sow the seeds, so the harvest, when it's time to check the harvest, now you're able to see what you are able to reap. You reap the benefits of success by making the right choices, getting up early every day, going to bed early, getting enough sleep, drinking water, working out, working on your podcast, working on your goals, working on your music, working on your crafts, doing everything that you need in order to become the best version of yourself. This is choices. If you make the best choices today, you do not have to worry about people judging you for the mistakes of yesteryear. I always say all the time, all you have to do is win, and people forget about the times you lost. See, if I'm a winner, baby, you can't tell me I'm a loser, because all I do is win. So this episode is about choices. This episode is about making the right choices, correcting the choices that you have made that were wrong, becoming the best version of yourself, and getting that life that you deserve. This is Deniro Ali, and this has been another episode of the Deniro Experience. You know.